I love art. That's always been a fact. For as long as I can remember, I've called myself an artist. I scribbled a pair of eyes on every notebook, Scantron, and tabletop I got a hold of. I entered competitions, I watched YouTube videos, I joined clubs, and I made murals with my friends. However, even though I was always a creative, I can't remember a time when I could actually say art was my favorite subject in the classroom. I've had pretty good art teachers throughout my life, some that shape the way I look at the world, compose my art, and genuinely make me excited to come to school. But I think those teachers made my experience with art good despite the curriculum they were given, not because of it. Let me explain. Art classes in preschool and elementary school are designed to foster creativity and self-expression, giving kids a crucial foundation for overall development. These classes emphasize the process of creation over the final product, allowing children to explore different materials, techniques, and ideas pretty freely. When I was in elementary school and when I taught elementary school, there seemed to be no wrong way to go about art. It was all about improving your motor skills and developing your personal voice. This focus on expression helps kids develop their individuality, emotional intelligence, and problem-solving skills. The hands-on exploration and experimentation helps them understand textures, colors, and shapes. But the whole point is the process of making art rather than the finished piece, which allows kids to feel free to take risks and try new things without fear of failure. Collaboration is something I took for granted in juvenile art classes as well. Working alongside peers in art classes fosters a sense of community. Kids learn how to share materials, ideas, and space, which helps build social skills. Group projects encourage teamwork and the exchange of ideas, leading to richer, more diverse artistic outcomes. Creating art in a group setting allows children to observe and learn from each other. They see different approaches and techniques, which can inspire them to try new methods in their own work. Peer feedback, both positive and constructive, can boost confidence and provide new perspectives. Kids start learning to look to their classmates for inspiration, imitating styles or techniques they admire, which is a natural part of learning and growth. That experience, the art making instead of the art, gives a lot of children, especially those on the spectrum or suffering from sensory or behavioral issues, a nonverbal outlet for expressing their thoughts and experiences. Art classes when you're a kid are super social. It helps you feel valued and confident, reinforcing your enthusiasm for art and expression with themes of self-actualization. This all changes, though, in middle school. All of a sudden, we start prioritizing teaching the principles of art in a traditional sense, and while this is obviously valuable, it can overshadow creativity in several ways. Focusing heavily on principles like color theory, perspective, composition, and anatomy can create a rigid structure that leaves little room for experimentation. Students may feel compelled to follow specific rules and guidelines, which can stifle their ability to explore and express their unique artistic voices. Almost all my artist friends have echoed similar experiences. Art classes become so structured that you weren't allowed to explore your interests. You were instead supposed to exemplify that you didn't understand how art worked, and if your art didn't fit into those confines, it was not good. My teacher's emphasis on correct techniques and principles just instilled an intense fear of making mistakes. I became overly cautious, avoiding risks that could have led to technical problems but also blocked innovative and creative outcomes. This fear can hinder any student's willingness to experiment and learn from errors, which are essential parts of the creative process. When the focus is on mastering foundational principles, personal expression must take a backseat. Students might prioritize technical proficiency over conveying their emotions, ideas, and perspectives. This can lead to art that's technically sound but lacks individuality or any emotional depth. Overemphasis on principles can shift the motivation from intrinsic, which is personal satisfaction and expression, to extrinsic, grades, praise, approval. Students might create art that meets the criteria of the principles rather than pursuing projects that inspire them and excite them, leading to a decline in genuine creative engagement. I remember during high school, all I cared about was finishing my art so I could show it to my teacher and just be done with it. I was so focused on my syllabus that by the end of the school year, I had a portfolio full of well-graded art that I despised. I believe this strong focus on principles can also shift the artistic landscape as a whole and lead to a more uniform approach to art, where art starts to look similar. I've seen a recent uptick of this soulless art in a lot of contemporary museums, but that's tea for another day. The point is, creativity thrives on diversity and the exploration of different styles, techniques, and ideas. If students are too focused on adhering to principles, the diversity of creative outputs just diminish. Also, mastery of art principles is essential, but so is the development of a personal style. If students spend too much time focusing on principles without opportunities to explore and develop their own style, their unique artistic voice may emerge later than it could have. My artistic voice has always been king. I had always considered art such a personal, introspective practice. I had always imagined that was the value in art, creating pieces that reflect your experiences, and to foster connection through your interpretation of those experiences. So imagine my surprise when I found out art was actually about winning. The moment I let a teacher know that I was considering a career in fine art, I was essentially told, hey, I know you're passionate about this, but unless you're the best at it and can beat thousands of other kids in a never-ending rat race, you will die broke. Young artists are often thrust into competitive environments, especially those who express an interest in the arts at an early age. To gain admission into art programs, students often need to demonstrate their abilities through awards and recognitions. Let's ignore, somehow, that this barrier for entry is so high it already excludes children whose parents can't afford to pay the exorbitant competition and program fees. This competitive pressure can be intense, as it often starts as young as age 10 and requires constant proof of talent and skill. Art competitions, portfolio reviews, and juried exhibitions become critical milestones, and the emphasis on winning or receiving accolades can overshadow the joy of creating art for personal fulfillment. Again, the intrinsic motivation to create art can diminish, replaced by the extrinsic goal of earning recognition so you can secure a place in a sought-after art program. My introduction to this cutthroat pressure was at age 13, when I tried to get admitted into a specialized arts high school in NYC. These specialized schools are meant to be art-intensive and extremely competitive, the most notable, LaGuardia High School, being the backdrop of the 1980s hit Fame. Let me tell y'all something. Every day I wake up and I thank God that I did not go to one of these schools. These institutions place too much emphasis on rankings and awards amongst their own students, which can further prioritize technical skill over creativity. Students are often evaluated based on their ability to win competitions and gain recognition, which, coupled with an 8-hour school day, puts them in high stress. But the real crime these schools commit? The intense focus on artistic achievement can, and in most cases will, deprioritize academic success. As a result, students who do not achieve commercial success in the arts may find themselves without a strong academic foundation or a backup plan for their future. This environment can create a really high-stress atmosphere where the joy of art is overshadowed by the pressure to excel, which leaves artists vulnerable if their artistic careers don't, go as planned. Now, liberal arts colleges take this to a whole new level. Liberal arts colleges can exacerbate these competitive pressures even further, primarily due to the significant financial investment required to attend. My school costs $80K a year. Yippee! The high cost of tuition and associated expenses often places immense pressure on students to produce really impressive portfolios that can justify this investment. The pressure can lead to creating work aimed at, again, pleasing professors and potential employers rather than exploring your own personal artistic growth. The need to compile a portfolio that stands out can be really financially burdensome because it involves purchasing expensive materials, expensive software, and tools, as well as investing in time-consuming projects that may not always even align with the student's creative interests. Moreover, the instability of a career in the arts compounds this issue. Students may feel compelled to pursue commercial success to recoup their educational investment, which can lead to compromising your artistic integrity and vision. The financial strain and competitive environment can result in portfolios that students are genuinely not proud of, leaving students with a really high education bill and a sense of dissatisfaction with their creative journey. Liberal arts colleges also present challenges because they rely on celebrity lecturers. I know it sounds really crazy, but I encountered a ton of these professors at NYU Tisch School of the Art, with classes like Imaginary Worlds and Becoming Internet Famous, taught at times by lecturers who don't even have a bachelor's degree. You start to wonder why you're paying this much. While these instructors bring industry fame and real-world experience, their classes can suffer from lack of structure. The existence of filler classes, a lot of which are mandated, exacerbates this issue. Courses often feature loose syllabi and a focus on theoretical discussions rather than practical skills, leaving students with a sense of ambiguity regarding their educational value. This nebulous approach to curriculum undermines the fixed value of a degree. Students not only struggle to gain concrete skills, but they're not gaining knowledge applicable to their career. Additionally, despite these schools' potential for industry connections, many students find little support in breaking into the competitive art world. Networking and securing opportunities often hinge on personal connections, which are not adequately facilitated by institutions. This lack of structured support and practical guidance makes the high cost of liberal arts education really hard to justify, in my opinion. Students are left grappling with significant debt, uncertain job prospects, and an education that fails to equip them with the necessary tools to succeed in the art industry. The overall experience can feel disconnected from the reality of the art world. Most of all, it's just a minimal return on investment. I left NYU with too many basic questions unanswered. What does it truly mean to be a professional artist? What career paths are genuinely available? What even is an art niche? The art world often feels like more of a trade, but it's not treated like it academically. Instead, students are thrust into a vague and unstable career landscape without any clear guidance or support, while being taught primary colors for the cost of a mortgage. This disconnect between the academic treatment of art and the realities of an artist's career leaves me questioning the value and practicality of my own education. But all I know is, I'm glad I recognize these issues, and I got out early because of it. As always, thank you so much for drawing with me. This was my first video. Thank you so much for drawing with me. If you want to watch this video without the yapping, I made a long form version. If you'd like to buy a print of this piece, I've got it listed on my website, www.sasheisty.com. If you'd like to read this essay instead of listening, you can find us on Medium at Brooklyn to Beach. I've got a materials list and citations waiting in the description for you. Cheers!